What's up, everybody? Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. Tastes Like Music Jam Week, brought to you by our patrons over on Patreon. They have selected the artist this week. We've already ranked the 6 studio albums of the jam and given you our top 10 songs. So check out those videos if you haven't seen them yet. And today for side 3, I can't believe we haven't done this topic already. We are talking about power trios, bands with only 3 members. Generally, I think to get the power trio distinction, it is a drum, bass, guitar situation. Although I guess you could argue otherwise if you've got a keyboard instead of a guitar or something. But that's what we're talking about today. There are some really big, obvious ones, and then I'm sure we'll touch on those and then get to some deeper ones as well. What have you guys got?
I'll kick it off again. I'll try not to take all of them, at least all of the obvious ones. For me, a couple ones stand out that aren't the obvious ones. I got Ash. For most of their career, they had a 4th member. They brought her in for a couple albums, but a lot of the time, Ash, just a trio for their debut and their more recent albums. Another trio from more modern days, I got Muse. Always helps when the lead singer is a great guitarist and a great piano player. So Matt Bellamy. It's a power trio, but they really fill their sound out well. We'll do another one that I like a lot from the 90s this time. Don't let the name fool you. Ben Folds 5 is just a power trio. Jason mentioned sometimes the power trio can have a different instrument, and of course Ben Folds, master pianist, and they change things up. They have a big fat rhythm section. They throw a lot of fuzz on their bass, so it's not a thin sound at all from Ben Folds 5. We'll do The Police. They're pretty popular, one of the originators of the old power trio, jazzy. I feel like with a power trio, you really need to be good at your instruments, and every member of The Police is excellent at their respective instruments. And then we'll do, this is a band that wasn't always a power trio, but I think for specific releases, they only had 3 members. I should probably check to make sure that's true. For all intents and purposes, King Crimson for the Red album, just Robert Fripp, John Wetton, and Bill Bruford. You got some, other guys filling in some sax and violin on there as well. But for the most part, power trio. Shown that you can be a progressive rock power trio, and it don't have to be Rush. You can be King Crimson and do it just as well.
Very nice. I'm not going to say the R word. Obviously, TLM is the best trio in the business. But I'll lead off with my big one. I'm going to go with the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Obviously, you got Jimmy, Noel Redding, and Mitch Mitchell. Hell of a trio. I mean, no one ever talks about Redding. Some people talk about Mitch Mitchell, and everyone talks about Hendrix. But as a trio, just awesome. And since we're doing jam, I'll go over to England and throw out a great modern rock band that is pretty big over in the UK, but not so much here, which says everything you need to know about the difference in the cultures. But I'm going to go with Stereophonics. You got Kelly Jones, Richard Jones, and Javier Weiler. Obviously, they have a few more people that they usually tour with, but especially at the beginning of their time. And I think as far as like the artistic vision, pretty much is just those 3. And I think they make a lot of really good rock music and have one just amazing album. I'm also going to throw in Haim, Alana Danielle and Este, the sisters who make pretty cool pop rock, indie rock, whatever you want to call it. I think they're really good and will only get better. I think they only have 3 albums, but yeah, I think they're on the verge of completely finding what they're all about as a band and coming out with a masterpiece. I didn't quite like their 2020 release as much as everyone else, but I did like it a lot. Let's go in with a band I can't wait to talk about. It's one of the major classic rock acts that we have not gotten to yet, but we will. Gotta go with ZZ Top, Dusty Hill, Frank Beard, and Billy Gibbons. I love ZZ Top. I love their sound. I love the boogie rock. And even though when I saw them at the Eric Clapton Crossroads Festival in like 2010 or 2011, they were not very good live at all. I know I think I've said that before, but their rhythm section was just garbage. It was all over the place. Obviously, you don't go to see the rhythm section really. It's all about the guitar and the songs, but kind of hurt. And then finally, a band I saw last night out of nowhere because I got offered a free chance to see him. Biffy Clyro, big trio. They had a couple extra guys in the back on stage, but I'm not crazy about them. But they were a really good live show. Ton of energy, pretty heavy, pretty hard. And it's a great example of kind of being like, with a band and now being like, yeah, all right, pretty cool, not bad. Yeah, don't mind them at all now after I saw them live. And I always love to see that happen. That's the beauty of live music, but there you go.
All right. Well, got to kick off with one of my favorite bands of all time, Dinosaur Jr., Murph, Lou, and Jay. And then after Lou left, you had some other people coming in and out. But for the most part, that's the trio. Then I'm going to go with King's X, a band that lost in the poll this month. They came in last place out of the 5 bands. But I love King's X. I had a kind of a brief King's X phase where I got super into them for like a year. I bought all of their records, saw them live a couple times during that year. Haven't listened to them much since, but I still do enjoy them. Then I'm going to go with one that I'm a little surprised Joe didn't have. I'm going to go with Silverchair. Started out very young, like 16 years old. They kind of got pegged as a Nirvana ripoff, which they kind of were. But right when everyone started ignoring them, they evolved into something a lot more interesting, doing stuff with like big symphony arrangements and Van Dyke Parks working with them. And they did some really cool stuff after everyone, at least in the US, stopped listening to them. Then I'm going to go with Buffalo Tom, band from Amherst, Massachusetts. Really cool. They were friends with Jay Mascis. He did some production work with them on the first 2 records, kind of elevated their profile a bit, played some solos on their records, but good songwriters in their own right, and put out some really cool records in the early 90s. And then my last one, I'm going to go with Secret Machines, who I think are a really cool band, really interesting voice. I think they have a couple really great records. That first one, which I think was self-titled, and then 10 Silver Drops. Both of those records I think are really excellent records from the 2000s. So there you go. Those are mine, but there are some big ones on the table still. No one mentioned Cream.
Are we big Cream fans here?
There's Rush still.
Rush.
Rush.
I feel like a lot of power trios have one word band names. Ash, Cream, Rush, Muse, Nirvana. That was another one.
All right, so there's still more out there. Drop them down in the comments. Whichever ones we missed, let us know. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, merch, website, all in the description. And of course, if you're interested in supporting us further, you can check out our Patreon, all kinds of cool perks there, including choosing one of the bands that we cover every month, like we did this week with the Jam. That is courtesy of the patrons. So head over there, check it out, consider joining. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.